For most people, the story of the Headless Horseman begins with a pumpkin, a dark road, and a rider without a head. But this podcast isn't about Washington Irving. It's not even really about Sleepy Hollow itself. It's about a song born during one of the most important periods in American popular music, a song tied to a Disney film, a song recorded by one of the greatest vocalists of the 20th century, and a song that somehow became one of Halloween's most overlooked treasures. This is the story of the song The Headless Horseman, but more specifically, the story of Kay Starr's version. I am Gregory Hallows, and this is Preserve Halloween Podcast. On this episode, we're talking about a recording that has fascinated Halloween music collectors for decades, including me, because I believe it's the best version of this song. When most people hear The Headless Horseman, they immediately think of Bing Crosby and Disney's adaptation of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, which is fair. But tonight, or whenever you're listening to this, because I'm doing this in the morning, but I wrote this at night, we're focusing on another recording, the recording by Kay Starr. And to be honest, this episode isn't just about a Halloween song. It's about timing. It's about the recording industry. It's about the strange moment when Disney, Tin Pan Alley, radio, big bands, and popular music all collided around one specific tune. And at the center of it all, for me and for this podcast, was Kay Starr. Now, before she ever stepped into Halloween history, Kay Starr was already building an extraordinary career. She was born Catherine Laverne Starks in Oklahoma, grew up singing from an early age, and found success on the radio while still a child. And one of the reasons why she changed her name was because people kept saying it wrong. So Starks became Starr, and Catherine became Kay, just shortened, right? The things that I found describe her winning talent contests, hosting her own radio program, and eventually performing in Memphis before adopting the name Kay Starr. What stands out throughout her story is versatility. She wasn't confined to one genre. She sang jazz, she sang pop, she sang country, she sang blues. And she later became famous for songs like Wheel of Fortune and the Rock and Roll Waltz. One writer described her as a utility singer, which may sound bad, but in the music business in the 40s, that was a huge compliment. It means she could sing absolutely anything. And that's exactly why Capitol Records chose her for their version of The Headless Horseman. So to understand how this all came about, let's go back to the late 40s. Disney was preparing to release The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. Now, that film contained Disney's version and adaptation of Washington Irving's wonderful story, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. The studio believed the music from the Sleepy Hollow portion had huge commercial potential, and they weren't the only ones that thought that. Tin Pan Alley publishers agreed, record labels agreed, radio stations agreed. Everyone thought that these songs could become hits, and one song stood out above the rest. That was The Headless Horseman. So this is the part you need to understand. So today when a movie soundtrack comes out, there's one original version as the version, right? But in the 40s, that's not how things worked. When a promising song was to appear in a film, multiple labels would rush to record their own versions. They weren't trying to preserve the original. They wanted to have a hit song. And so at the same time, several companies were chasing the same Sleepy Hollow material. Now, they're done with different orchestras, different singers, different arrangements. Everybody wanted their piece of the pie. So Capitol Records looked at the material and they made a choice. Rather than assign the song to one specific band leader or a novelty act, they were only concerned with one song, and that was Headless Horseman. And they wanted to give it to a rising star at their label. And they thought she was one of the few people who could give Bing Crosby a run for his money on the song, even though she was still at an early age in her career with them. So they handed the song to Kay Starr. And that is very, very important. Capitol believed that she had the vocal personality to carry the song because Headless Horseman is not just a song, right? It's storytelling. It has timing. You got to be funny. You got to have character. There's an atmosphere involved. And they believed that Kay Starr would excel at exactly all of those things. And they were absolutely right. And one thing, when I was doing research on her and the song, what you keep coming back to is her ability to tell a story through a song. She wasn't simply singing notes. She was an actor. She was interpreting. She was creating the characters. And the Headless Horseman is essentially a ghost story through song. It's a musical in a song. The lyrics paint very vivid images. Ghosts are gathering. It's Halloween night. The terrifying rider. The search for a new head. This isn't just a song. It's kind of like a miniature movie. But here's the thing that the producers were worried about with the song. They needed to capture the humor, the fear, the excitement, and the suspense all within a very short recording. Because, I mean, this was the 40s, so songs weren't very long like they are now. And unlike many novelty records of the era, the material already had a strong source behind it. There was the movie already. So Disney's version was kind of towering over everything that was made. So Kay couldn't simply imitate Bing Crosby. She had to make the song her own. And again, I've said this on every podcast that I've done about songs. At this time, Halloween music was not a category. There were spooky songs, there were novelty songs, there were ghost stories, but Halloween did not have their soundtrack yet. And we're building that with these songs, right? Halloween as a genre, as a playlist, didn't really exist yet. So Kay Starr and her version of Headless Horseman was helping to invent that tradition of Halloween songs at the moment. So this song has ghosts, banshees, midnight gatherings, a supernatural rider, Halloween imagery. It's perfect. And that's one of the reasons why I chose this to talk about. These are all the building blocks of modern Halloween music. This song in particular wasn't just entertaining, it was helping define what Halloween would sound like. And think about it. How many songs do you know from the 40s that you still listen to today? We'll be right back after this quick break. I am Gregory Hallows, your voice behind the Preserve Halloween podcast and founder of the Halloween Preservation Society. Halloween is more than a holiday. It's history, folklore, and a tradition worth protecting. If you love the stories, the research, and the deep dives into Halloween I bring you, please consider supporting the Preserve Halloween podcast. Your support can help me with more research opportunities, including travel to locations relevant to Halloween history, and to bring you even more insight into the world's greatest holiday. Every one of your contributions, no matter the amount, helps keep the jack-o'-lantern glowing just a little bit longer. So support the show if you can, help me preserve the past, and keep Halloween history alive for generations to come. Check the links in the show description to find out more. And thank you. And now, back to the podcast. A song like Headless Horseman could have just disappeared, but it didn't. And part of the reason is because of the subject matter. The Headless Horseman is not a trend. It's a timeless story. It's going to last forever. Washington Irving created a character that survives generation after generation because we continue to talk about it. And that's the important part about all of this, is we need to continue to preserve these things. No pun intended. Disney amplified the legend, and people like Kay Starr helped carry this into popular music. And the best thing about Halloween songs is they don't have to hit the charts. They don't have to be in the top 10. They don't have to, do any of that. They only have to survive. I mean, for most people, they only have to survive in October. And every October they come back. It's like an annual. Is that the right one for flowers? It just comes back every time. Maybe I'm saying it wrong, but somebody's going to tell me I'm wrong. But think of it that way. This is something that only has to survive 1 month out of the year. So that's a pretty good. If you were a baseball player and you were 1 for 12, that's horrible. But that's all you need to do for a Halloween song. I mean, a lot of us listen to it all year round, but it only really has to hit the main focus and the main, everyone else October. And the thing about that resurrection annually, it makes the song more powerful. It creates a tradition. Headless Horseman becomes one of those songs that collectors and radio hosts and Halloween enthusiasts like all of us rediscover not everybody listens to Halloween music all year round. I understand that. But every year we're always looking for that perfect playlist, and this song is always on one of mine. And this is the thing I think I didn't want to overlook when I did this podcast was Kay Starr isn't really mentioned among Halloween circles, or I don't really hear it, but she should be. When people discuss Halloween recordings from this classic era, I think her name should be at the top of that list. You go to Monster Mash and all the songs, the stuff that I've been talking about. But Kay Starr, I know there's some people that may have never heard this version, and that's why I'm super excited to do this podcast, to introduce Kay Starr to someone who's never heard this version. It's so good. And she did this song when her career was about to take this huge trajectory upwards. And the thing about it, she's just a really good singer. It wasn't like a one-off or she only sang Halloween songs. This is just one of the hundreds of songs she sang in her career, and she was an amazing singer. Her career lasted, I think, until in her 80s. And that's a testament to her. Her voice was bluesy and distinctive and very authoritative and husky and, all the things that are very perfect for a voice to remember. And I found a quote, and this is probably the greatest compliment any singer could get. Billie Holiday, the amazing Billie Holiday, was quoted as saying, "Kay was the only white woman that could sing the blues." Now, I don't know how much better of a compliment you can get than that, but all of these things about her made her a perfect choice for singing the Headless Horseman, because the song requires a narrator. It requires somebody believable and somebody who sounds like they actually may have seen this rider galloping through the night looking for his head, and she nails it. So when Halloween collectors are compiling their playlists of vintage seasonal music, this song frequently reappears, not because it was a massive chart, hit, but because it's the atmosphere, it's the secret ingredient that this song creates a Halloween atmosphere. It doesn't just describe it. And the best Halloween songs do a few things. They tell a story, they create imagery, and they transport us somewhere that makes us feel like it's Halloween no matter when we hear it. And that's what this song does. Kay Starr's version accomplishes all this with her great style. So when we look back at the history of Halloween music, and I will continue to do that through songs and through the podcast because I have a really long list still left to go, I don't want us to just remember the obvious songs. What I'm trying to do is pull out the songs that you may or may not have heard before. I probably won't do a podcast on Monster Mash. No offense to that song. It's still amazing. I actually might do a podcast on the fact that the Monster Mash, no one's actually heard the song. He's just singing about the song. That's my favorite part about that song. Anyway, we need to remember the recordings that help build the foundation of what we consider Halloween music today. The songs that arrived before Halloween even became a commercial category. Before there was, records that were strictly Halloween. The songs that taught us and the audience, abroad, what spooky music could be. Kay Starr's Headless Horseman definitely deserves a place on that list. Not as a footnote and not as a cover of a Bing Crosby song. She made this song her own, and it is a very unique chapter in the history of Halloween music. And I'm very happy to introduce you. If you've never heard this song, I'm very happy to introduce it to you for the first time. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. So remember, somewhere tonight, a lantern glows, a horse gallops, and a rider searches for a head. And thanks to Kay Starr, that old legend still has a voice. Until next time, stay strange, stay curious, stay spooky, and always preserve Halloween.